If your child has had a nanny and preschool is right around the corner, I need you to watch this whole video because nobody actually talks about how hard this transition can actually be. Like, yes, everyone says, oh, they'll be fine. Kids are resilient, and sure, that's true. But there is so much more that happens between your child leaving nanny care and actually setting into a preschool that parents are just not prepared for. We're talking about how to have the conversation with your nanny, what to actually say to your child, what drop off is going to look like within those first few weeks, and what to do when your kid is crying every single morning and you're sitting in your car feeling like the worst parent ever. I have been through this with families and I want to give you everything today. Let's get into it. Okay, so first, can we just be honest for a second? This tradition is hard for everybody, not just your kid, everybody. Your child is leaving someone who has literally been their person Monday through Friday, probably for years. That nanny knows how to cut their sandwich, what show calms them down, and what face they make right before they're about to have a meltdown. And now your child is walking to a classroom with 12 other kids and a teacher that doesn't know any of that just yet. That is a big deal for a little person. And your nanny, they love your child. This isn't just about a job ending. For a lot of nannies, saying goodbye to a child that they've helped raise is genuinely heartbreaking. And that matters and it deserves to be acknowledged. And then there's you. Because you're the one holding all of this together while also trying to hype up preschool and hold it together at the end of drop off and not cry in the parking lot. The guilt that comes with this whole transition is so real, especially when you've had a nanny, because you're used to someone who gives your child their full attention all day long. And now you're thinking, okay, is the classroom with a bunch of other kids really going to give them what they need? That doubt is completely normal. What we're going to do right now is build your plan so that you will stop spinning and start feeling like you actually know what you're doing. Okay, so before we even talk about logistics, we need to talk about readiness because I see parents rush this and it makes everything so much harder than it has to be. Most preschools start accepting kids around age 3, and honestly, that is not a random number. Around age 3, kids start to get a little bit more comfortable with other people. They start to follow simple instructions. They have enough words to start communicating their needs, and they're starting to actually be interested in other kids. That doesn't mean that drop off is going to be smooth sailing, but developmentally, the pieces are there. So, what does ready actually look like? Your child can handle being away from you for a little while without completely falling apart. They get excited around other kids. They're doing little things on their own, like washing their hands, eating on their own, that kind of thing. And they can understand basic direction. Those are your green lights. And then there are signs that maybe you might want to slow down a little. If your child is in the middle of another use change, a new baby, a move, an illness, that is not the time to stack preschool on top of that. If they're never really been separated from their caregiver for more than an hour or two, you want to work your way slowly and gradually up to it. And if your child is anywhere between 8 to 18 months old, just know that it's peak separation anxiety time. Their little brains are literally wired to be more clingy right now. That's biology, not a behavior problem. And listen, there is absolutely no trophy for starting preschool as early as possible. If your child needs a few more months with their nanny, that is okay. The goal is a transition that sets them up to feel good about school, not one that scares them off of it. Okay, this section, this is the one I never see anyone talk about, and it might be the most important one in this whole video. Before you do anything else, before you prep your kid, before you even tour their school, you need to sit down and have a real conversation with your nanny. Here's the thing. Most nannies know that preschool is coming. If they work with a family before, they have done this goodbye before. But knowing that it's coming doesn't make it any easier. And it definitely doesn't mean that they don't deserve proper notice and real respect. So, how much notice are we talking about? 4 weeks is the bare minimum. 6 to 8 weeks is ideal. I know that might feel like a long time, or maybe you're worried about it being awkward, but think about it from their side. Finding a new nanny position takes time. This is how they pay their bills. 2 weeks notice before school start is not okay. Even if it may feel uncomfortable to bring it up earlier. The earlier you say something, the better. And when you do have that conversation, please do it in person. Not over text, not slipping it at the end of a long work day. Sit down, look them in the eye, and lead with how much they have meant to your family. Something like, we want to talk to you about child's name starting school in X month. This was not an easy decision because you have been so important to us. We want to give you as much time as possible to find another family, and we will absolutely be a reference to you. That's it. Straightforward, warm, respectful. And then ask them what they need. Ask how they want to spend the last few weeks. And here's something a lot of parents don't think about. Your nanny can actually be a huge part of helping with this new transition. If they're willing, they can start talking about preschool, reading school books with your kid, doing little practice goodbyes. When the person your child loves and trusts the most is telling them that school is going to be amazing, that carries so much more weight. And please, handle the money piece with integrity. If your nanny has been with your family for a year or more, offer severance. Write them a reference letter before they even ask, and connect them with people in your network. The way you say goodbye to your nanny is a reflection of the relationship that you have built with them. Make it a good one. All right, this is a part every parent wants to jump straight into. How do I get my kid ready? And there is definitely a right way and a wrong way to do this. One, start talking about preschool, but not months in advance. Little kids don't really understand time the way that we do. If you start telling your 2.5-year-old in January that school starts in September, worse, it can turn into months of low grade anxiety. Start bringing it up genuinely about 3 to 4 weeks before the first day. That's close enough that it feels real, but not so far out that it just sits there and festers. And when you talk about it, be specific. Not just, oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. Because what if day one is not fun? Now they feel that they're being lied to and they don't trust you. Instead, give them real detail. Example, your classroom has a sandbox outside. Your teacher's name is Mrs. X, and she loves doing art projects. Real things they can picture. That is what builds excitement over fear. Secondly, visit the school before the first day. If the school does any kind of orientation or open house, you go. Period. You walk around with your child, you find their cubby, you check out the bathrooms, you let them play in the space. You introduce them to the teacher while you're sitting right there beside them. When a child already has a picture in their head of where they're going, the first day is so much less scary. It goes from unknown to somewhere they've already been. Do practice drop off with your nannies. This one is so simple, but yet so underused. If your nanny is still working in the weeks before school start, use that time. Have your nanny walk your child to the door, do a little goodbye, and then leave, while you or another trusted adult stays with the child. What you're teaching them is that someone can leave and then come back. That is literally the core fear underneath all that separation anxiety. Practicing it in a safe, low-stake way makes the real thing so much more manageable. Another one is to build a goodbye routine and stick to it. This is one of my biggest ones. Pick something. 3 squeezes, a secret handshake, a specific phrase, a forehead kiss. Do it the same way every single morning. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it is consistent. Because in that big, overwhelming moment at drop off, that little ritual to your child is your child's anchor. It tells them this is normal, this is safe, and you're coming back. But remember to keep it short, under 2 minutes. Because the longer and more dramatic the goodbye, the worse it gets. Do your things, say your words, then walk out. Do not go back for one more hug. And I know it is hard, but going back teaches them that crying gets you to come back. And that makes every single drop off or every single future drop off so much harder. Another one is to let them bring something small from home. A small stuffed animal, a family photo that is tucked into their backpack, or a small piece of their blanket. Those are called transitional objects, and there's a real reason that they work. It's a physical piece of home that they can hold on to when things get a little too much. Most preschools are totally fine with it, especially the first few weeks. Do not underestimate how much a little stuffed elephant can do for a nervous 3-year-old. Okay, so now let's talk about those first few weeks, because this is where most parents start to spiral, and I don't want that to be you. Crying at drop off, completely normal for the first few weeks. And here's something that might actually make you feel a little better. Most kids will stop crying within the first few minutes of you leaving. They just need you gone so that they could actually move on. Ask the teacher to send you a quick photo or a text when your child has settled down. Not because you need to hover, but because seeing your kid happily dig into the sandbox 20 minutes after a full meltdown will generally save your mental health. But you're also probably going to see some regression at home. Potty accidents, more tantrums, extra cleanliness in the evening, maybe some nightmares. And I know that feels like a red flag, but it is not. It just means that their little brain is working really hard during the daytime to handle something new and big. And by the time they get home, they're spent. Be sure to hold space for it. Extra snuggles at nighttime is not going to reverse any of the progress that you've made. They need both things. Most kids will find their footing within 2 to 4 weeks. But if we're talking 1 month mark and every single drop off is still a crisis, like we're talking intense crying, not eating, stomach ache, every single morning, nightmares regularly, that is something that is definitely worth bringing up with your pediatrician. It could just be a slower adjustment, or it could be something worth looking into further. Either way, trust your gut and know your child. And one more thing, pay attention to how your child is at pickup, not just at drop off. If your child runs up to you with something to show you, if they're mid laugh when you walk in, if the teacher has good thing to say, those are all real signs. The hard part is the goodbye, not the school itself. Pickups tell the truth. Another one is after pickup, give them a minute. Don't fire off 20 questions the second they get in the car. Let them decompress. Give them a snack, let there be quiet. And when you do ask them questions about their day, skip the how is it? Because the answer is always going to be fine or just a shrug. Instead, try something very specific. Say something like, what made you laugh today? Or who did you sit with at lunch? Specific questions get you real answers. And here's what I want you to take away from this. The nanny to parent preschool transition is a big moment. It's emotional and it's messy, and it probably won't be perfectly smooth. And that's okay. None of that means that you're doing it wrong. When you give your nanny the respect they deserve, when you prepare your child with honesty, and of course with consistency, when you hold it together at the door, even if a part of you wants to stay, you're doing it right. And one morning, sooner than you think, your child is going to run through that classroom door without even looking back. And you're going to be standing there feeling so proud and so bittersweet at the same time. That is the moment you're working towards, and that is a win. Be sure to drop a comment below and tell me exactly where you're at. Are you still in the nanny stage, or are you right in the middle of this transition right now? I want to hear it from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe because I post twice a week for parents and nannies. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.